Welcome to Grit and Gravitas with Ann and Annie, bringing you savvy, spirited stories of success. We're excited to deliver 30 minutes of inspiration, impact, and goodness. We'll be bringing you guests and friends from around the country who have very special work and personal journeys. I'm Ann Deeter Gallaher, your co-host with Annie Carnathan, and this is Grit and Gravitas. Let's go! Annie Carnathan, welcome to all of our listeners for Grit and Gravitas. Always good to see you. Makes my day. We're super excited to have a new guest, and we kind of discovered our youngest guest. And I say that in the most powerful, positive way possible as a supreme compliment.
We've had a lot of beautiful guests. She's also beautiful, I will tell you. So if you're listening, you got to go view, right, to check that out on YouTube.
Take it.
You got to go to YouTube, yeah. Candace, Scalese, welcome to the Grit and Gravitas podcast studio.
Yeah.
We're excited to hear more of your story. You are no stranger to the camera.
That's right. I love being on TV.
So I kind of feel
That's why I chose it as a profession.
That's it.
This is a role reversal.
Love it.
It is.
So,
I'm rarely in the interviewee seat.
I know. This is I kind of love this. We're the, usually me or my team is on the opposite side, you know, in the wings, supporting clients who are being interviewed. And now the tables turn a little bit. So
I know. I'm excited.
Oh, good,
and
good,
the joint is already jumping. Tons of energy flying around in here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So welcome. We're excited to hear a little bit about your backstory. So you are a news anchor at CBS 21. And tell us a little bit. This is your second city you have been in, or third?
This is my third. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yes, I've been in the business 11 years.
Wow.
Started out straight out of college as a reporter. And I always wanted to be on Good Morning America. That might still happen. Haven't decided yet.
Well, this might be, this is the angle you could then, connect with Ginger Z.
100%. 100%. But yeah, it looked like, I always wanted to be happy at work. I wanted to have fun, and I wanted to enjoy it. From high school, I would always ask people, what do you do for a living? Do you enjoy it? Because you work a lot, right?
Yes.
40 hours a week at least most of the time. So I was like, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy it. What could I do? And I remember sitting in college orientation thinking, you have the rest of your life ahead of you. I mean, you can really do whatever you want.
Right.
I was like, I want to be a news anchor. So it took a while. I reported, I've edited, I produced, I did a little bit of everything. I finally got my anchor gig as a weekend anchor, my first television market in Mobile, Alabama.
Ooh.
Started there, worked there for about 3 years. I really wanted to be a talk show host. And they said, how about you do the weekend anchor morning show? We're going to create one. And I said, maybe. I don't know. But I did.
So
I
they're going to create it for
it.
you. So you were the first one.
I was the first one. We launched that show with me.
That's exciting.
It was
first.
exciting.
We
yeah.
like first.
Then my career took me to Columbia, South Carolina. That was my first
Ooh.
full-time morning anchor gig. So that was like, this is what I want to do. This is my dream job. And then 4 years later, my husband and I moved up here to Mechanicsburg. He's from here. Family's here.
Yes.
There's a morning anchor job. And I still have days where I'm like sitting on the desk, talking to the meteorologist, talking to the reporter. And I'm like, this is cool. This is fun.
Good for you.
I mean, it's hard work.
Yeah.
And it's odd hours. I wake up at 2 a.m. every day.
I was going to say, share with people, when you say morning news desk,
Yes.
most people don't understand what your
schedule.
work day is compared to the rest of us.
This is the end of my work day right now as we're recording around 2:20.
Yes.
So I wake up at 2 a.m. I'm at the studio by about 3:15.
Can I say you look fabulous for
Thank
waking
you.
up at that hour? Like, seriously?
Yeah. But I get my sleep. I mean, I have become,
You're
the
pretty
older
vigilant
I've
about
gotten, yes, I've realized how much sleep is important and that sacrificing the fun things at night is worth it if I'm going to have a good day the next day.
Okay, that's kind of a business vitamin right there, Annie. Sleep is important. I think we've talked about that in a few other podcasts. But obviously from where I sit at my age, sleep is real. Health is important, but sleep, I think we discount what that means to our overall health.
Oh, 100%. Because I can tell such a difference, even broadcasting on air, how I look, how I feel, my energy level in the morning, if I go to bed at 6 p.m. versus 8 p.m. And that's only 2 hours.
So you're going to bed at 6?
I go to bed at 6. Yeah. So
is that a struggle with the daylight issue going on? Like,
blackout curtains and sleep masks.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it works.
Yeah.
I've done mornings for 6 or 7 years now,
my
and
word.
I love it. Because I have the afternoon where I can do fun things like this.
Right.
But yeah, sleep's important. And I think it's taken me a while to realize how to balance work life and fun and realize when I'm at work, I need to work. After work, when I have free time, you can still have that fun side. You can still go out with friends. You just need to separate them sometimes to make sure that, like, when you're actually at work, get it done so you can have fun later. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think everything is a choice. Life is about creating choices. People who have ultimatums, who have less choices, a good night of sleep for me changes my entire outlook.
Yeah.
To all the points you just made. And you remember that book, Eat This, Not That, right? That put that, it's to me, this, not that, because you're always making choices.
Yeah.
Life is fraught with choices, and the sacrifice to me and the discipline of that is extraordinarily difficult.
Discipline, I think that's my favorite word because it is so hard. But once you master how to be disciplined, you can do anything. Right? I mean, if you just think about it, like, if
that's
you
kind of a
figure out
second
how to
business
be
vitamin.
That's a mega multi
Yeah.
right there, right? And that's one trigger word, discipline, because you know what, Candace? It's not easy for any of us that are successful, especially over a longer period of time. You've made sacrifices, Anne has, I have. We don't wake up and say, wow, thanks, Lord, you gave us everything.
It's 2 a.m. I'm so happy to be awake right now. Yeah.
And I think, discipline again, and that ability to stay the course of that through temptation.
Right.
Through any number of things. And sure, make those other choices, but you're not where you are. And you're not receiving the benefits to love work. And you talked about work. It's half of our waking hours. It's a third of our life, half of our waking hours. So yep, discipline is key.
So tell us a little bit, what's your favorite part about news?
Oh, that's all. Well, I'm saying this as the PA farm show is happening right now.
And, okay, you did not bring us milkshakes. We're going to go back. Lucy was on our Christmas, our first inaugural Christmas podcast. So, yeah, I'm going to have to text her when we're done.
I know, I didn't even think about it. Look at where my mind is. I love meeting people, like being out in the community and, like, engaging with people is so fun to see, like, because I'm literally in a studio looking at a camera.
Right.
Like, I don't see who's behind it.
Right.
I even thought about, like, creating popsicle sticks with people's faces on them. So I would be like, this
to
is my
give you
little
that
audience, right?
Yeah,
Like, I know my mom live streams it every morning.
Yeah.
I know that my grandmother watches. But, yeah, so engaging with the community is a lot of fun. Those feel-good stories are really good. But one of the reasons I got into the business is because in a business that can be so horrific and detrimental because you're talking about the awful news of the day, right? You're talking about the worst of the worst. I just felt like I could make some lives better. So whether that's helping the person who doesn't have a voice, or whether it's just making somebody's day because you shook their hand.
Yeah.
So I just felt like there was an opportunity, like that little silver lining where you can change somebody's life for the better.
Yeah.
That's really why I got into it. But I like I said from the beginning, being on TV is fun. It's just like, it's exciting. I mean, I'm used to it now where I don't really get nervous anymore because it happens every day now. But there are all these kids behind us at the farm show as we're broadcasting live for CBS 21 News at noon. And they're like jumping up and down. And they're like, hi, look at me. And I'm like, yeah,
that's a big
me
deal.
As a kid.
No, that's a big deal. They're on TV. Yeah.
So, and then you love the feel good stories. Like, there are so many stories. I love reporting because you get to that personal impact. And there are so many stories where I would just be working by myself, standing behind the camera, crying with the mother on the other side, so it's like you get that personal connection where, like, sometimes people just need a hug, or they just need somebody to
That's
listen
very
to them.
special because, and I think that's a huge benefit of local news.
Yeah.
I think for all the time I spend on digital media, Annie, it's the heart and soul of your business. The local news, if that left us, and I think we found that out during COVID, like you guys were the lifeline.
Right.
Like what is going on in our
In my
neighborhood when we
community.
aren't coming out of our houses?
Right.
What was happening? So were it to be gone, we would deeply miss it, I feel. We might, I'm not saying we don't take local news for granted, but I
it's
think
changing,
that's
too.
yes. And I'm sure social media has changed that, how we get our news. But to hear a journalist talk about the compassion and your deep desire, to put the microphone or the camera down and hug the mom who you just, had to share the story. That's so inspiring and encouraging.
Thank you.
And I think that most people, what I love is your perspective. Most people don't feel journalists, and maybe I'm stereotyping, approach news that way.
Right.
They feel that it's much more antiseptic, or it's just a career, but you can't help but be affected by every story you cover.
Oh, yeah. Especially as a reporter. I mean, I'm on the anchor desk now primarily, so I'm not out in the field as
Right.
much. But those reporters are out in people's communities every single day. So you meet people sometimes at their very lowest point, sometimes at their highest point.
Right.
But you take on their emotions to a certain extent, where if there are very serious stories at times, like I will grieve over them.
Yeah.
And then I'll move on. But you do,
Yeah.
you take on a lot. So you learn to compartmentalize, which I think is helpful in any job, just learning how to compartmentalize your different emotions for different aspects of your job, of your life. Because, some people are moms, some people are career women, some people are both. So it's like learning to handle the kids side with the parent side with, learning to compartmentalize has been helpful.
No, that's great.
When I listen to you, Candace, this is the main parallel to me with what we've lost since COVID. It's one thing for you to sit in front of a camera.
Yeah.
You cannot see those people. You cannot have empathy. You cannot consider a hug. And you walk in today, and I've never met you, and the spontaneity of just hugging you is like, that was your spirit. And so much of that, even for me, has been lost because there's just not that people are very removed.
They are.
And I don't think an office can survive long term without being in the community.
Yeah.
Right? And
you
this
need it.
behind the lens stuff takes so many of my superpowers away. But what I really that's not me. I don't want to come to an empty office. I don't want to leave
me
people
too.
right in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Which is what video is. So my parallel to that is you can't manufacture that empathy and that connection and that social aspect of really what makes your heart sing.
Yeah.
No, that's so true. Because we need each other too. I think that I don't know, I need hugs. Everybody does, right? So it's like you cannot manufacture the human connection, which is needed.
And that's, I feel like, what we've tried to do. And I love my home more than anyone, or as much as anyone. I don't want to work there.
Right. Yeah,
I want to go to where people are and see people and do this. And I said to Ann often, and the show probably saved my life throughout COVID, because lots of times it was Ann. It was our producer, it was our team, and if we were lucky, it was a guest.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So that to me is just next leveling what it means to come back to that human interaction and connection.
Yeah.
So if you have a young person, college student that is considering a career in media, and say TV broadcast, any tips for them?
Yes. Okay. I have a few.
Get ready. We got more business vitamins.
My first would be just ask wherever you want to work, ask to shadow.
Good.
Don't need an internship. I mean, if you get one, great.
Right.
But even if you just go for can I please shadow you for a week?
I think
to see
Danielle
what
Breezy
it's
said
really
the same
like.
thing. I think she did that.
Yeah.
Very intentional about.
Yeah, you just, because you want to see what it's like. Is it something that you would even enjoy? The second is advice my mother gave me that I never took. And I wish I had.
Because you were smarter than her at that point, right?
Of course, yeah. I never really got a mentor. And I look back and I was like, I could have been so much more successful faster if I had somebody telling me, you need to do this with your makeup.
Right.
You need to do this with your hair. You need to speak like this. You need to dress like this. Because out of college, I was straight on camera and I was dressing like a college kid. I didn't know.
Right.
I actually have naturally curly hair. I straighten it for TV because I look older. I look more professional. And I can tame it. Yeah. Because my curls are crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like if I had just asked.
Yeah.
If I had just asked for a mentor.
See, I don't think we've talked, Monica and I, who works for me, we've talked about that. Excuse me, when she was in college, she didn't know to introduce herself to the university president. She didn't know that she could. And I said, oh, you should have done A, B, C, and D. And she said, well, no one even told me. I did not know that was even a possibility that I should do that.
Yeah.
So in newsrooms, there is no hierarchy where they would assign, maybe in the very largest newsrooms, did they assign you like, okay, here's shadow so-and-so for the first 6 months? Or is that, are you kind of just everyone on their own?
Kind of on your own.
Yeah.
It's kind of like figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you might shadow somebody for a week, but really so I have a talent coach now who like watches my video with me. We go over things. We talk about angling on TV. We talk about, I mean, things you would know, you wouldn't know to talk about. But yeah, I mean, people critique you, but I think it's just having somebody in your corner who has your best interest in mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think part of it was like, what do you mean a mentor? Like, who do I even ask? And that's where I kind of got lost. Yeah. So I wish I just called up a local news station or emailed some local television anchors who I watched or admired.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, I want to get into this business. Can I grab coffee with you?
Yep.
Which is so nerve-wracking when you're young.
Right.
But
that's the way, when you talk about shorten your learning curve, that's the quickest way to do that.
Yes.
And he or she would be able to say, here's 5 must-dos.
Yeah. Even now, I'm like thinking about this. I need to do it with like some of the anchors I watch right now who I'm like, wow, I just love watching you.
I need to email them. Did with Hurricane Schwartz in Philly. I think her class went to like a weather to tour the station and stuff, and she emailed him to thank him and blah blah blah, and he says, hey, if I can ever help you, and it was like
she didn't wait too long.
And honestly, that's the entire point of this show. And here's the other thing, Candace. You don't know if there'll be a mentor for you yet, right? It's like a first date, but I think it's as important to know who you don't want to emulate, what you don't want to be. And when you look at you changing markets, which you all do, you're very, very transient to get to whatever level you want to be. Imagine the higher stakes at a place like that where you're pulling up stakes and moving there, right? Yeah. So it's just really crucial to me to ask and to know exactly maybe what you don't want to do, right? The podcast is sort of like, let's throw it out there. What can help you? But most importantly, too, what won't you want to do? Yeah. Oh, I could never do that. Great. You don't have to. Right. You have to do you. Everybody else is taken. Yeah. And so I do think that's a great, great, great step for anyone out there to do.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And I think just even making a list, like you said, for any college students out there, making a list of the top 3 people you would like to have coffee with. Yeah. And prepare some of those questions. And I always tell younger people, make that request for a 15-minute coffee date. Like understand the value of time for these executives or for, a busy news anchor in a much larger market. Yeah. Let them then turn around and say, oh, I can carve out a half an hour. Why don't you come to my office? Or however that transpires. But it's less intrusive if you say, could I meet you at Cornerstone Coffee House for 15 minutes? I have 3 questions. Right. And you're not asking to pick their brain, which has a connotation of you want everything I've learned for free, although it just took me 25 years to learn this. But even the introduction to all of us at that level is the value. If you have an email address and they've consented to, answer a couple emails and say, I don't have time for coffee, but, send me 3 of your questions. Yeah. And then maybe that turns into about, here's the talent coach or business coach I have. How about, do you want to, can I connect you with him or her? And that's a priceless introduction too.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, and I believe in the 6 degrees of separation where everyone is connected, right? I mean, even just listening to the 2 of you talk about everybody who knows. I mean, Carol grew up with my father-in-law, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, yes. Carol. And I'm looking at you saying my mother-in-law's name.
I said that, yeah. So her father-in-law went to high school with me. So
Yeah,
look
isn't
at
that
that.
bizarre?
Chills. Seriously, chills. I hope. Yeah. Well, when you look back, this is really like I'm not transient. I live.
Right.
You know,
You stay.
somebody said my
Yes.
idea of moving was from Lancaster to Harrisburg, which is about 35 miles, right? Miss my family even then. But what would you say, Candace, gave you the resilience to continue on through great sacrifice, through great unknowns, through great sort of wow, I hope this is the best move in the best
I was
place.
gonna say, even
That's
to
a
pick
good
up
To build a
and
career you
move.
clearly have
Yeah.
envisioned in your mind.
Well, my family's all in Atlanta, so I think my like ultimate dream job, other than Good Morning America, would probably be anchoring in Atlanta, where I grew up. But I knew I couldn't go there straight out of college, and I
Right.
knew I'd have to make some other
Atlanta's
stops.
top 10.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. So, as part of that, I just accepted I would have to move. And I grew up in Georgia, but went to the University of Alabama. So part of the reason I did that was because I wanted something different.
Yeah.
I would say I'm also blessed with an outgoing personality. So
100%.
Clearly.
it's easy for
Clearly.
me. And I learned this early on out of college. I was so lonely for the next 6 months. And then I was like, I got to get involved.
Good.
I mean, how else am I have to just go by myself
Yeah.
and meet people.
Good.
So each move, I've learned how to get involved. And it's still hard. Like, I don't have any best friends here.
Right,
You know, I've
right.
been here for a year. All my best friends are probably from Alabama and South Carolina. But I have good friends here I've developed over
Yeah.
a year.
Good.
So, I guess it's like after the first few moves, you just learn how to do it.
It's normalized.
It's normalized. And I knew that in order to grow my salary and to grow my career and to get promoted, I was going to have to do it.
Yeah.
So I just kind of knew, I mean, they told me going to the business, you're going to have odd hours, you'll work holidays, and you're going to move a lot. And I said, okay, sign me up.
Yes.
And they make planes and trains and cars.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm lucky that my family travels to see me. I just hosted 12 for Christmas Eve. Anna and I
saw
talked
that.
about
I
it.
know.
So yeah, I've been blessed with a really loving, good family who has visited me.
That's a great support system.
Yeah, it works. Yeah. And luckily, my husband's come along for the ride. And he says, one more move and then we're done.
Yeah.
So he's like, I want to settle down.
Amen.
It is sacrificing,
Amen. That's more, of a mentality, and I think I just didn't ever see that trade-off, right?
Yeah.
And I was just going to try to do whatever it was here, and so I marvel at you. And I'm outgoing, and I'm connected, and just make things happen. I mean, a room of strangers, I'd be hard-pressed to go in with Ann to the other room if there's more people I could meet, right?
Yeah,
That's sort of how I'm built, so.
It is, but part of that is so unique though, because at times my husband and I are jealous of friends who have been your friends for so long because you live next door to them.
Right,
We were
right.
talking about Tom Russell and your husband are great
That's right.
friends.
That's
So
right.
it's like we don't really have that like community where like we've grown up with these people. Like all our friends are spread out.
Right.
And so, I mean, we have friends, but it's just like that is a trade-off of moving so much. is
Amen. It is.
You don't have that community where it's just like, yeah, down the road, like we've known them our whole lives kind of thing. So,
It's
but
a
you meet
sacrifice
fascinating
again,
people. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's the discipline. It's the it's absolutely trade-offs.
Yeah.
So you made a point about being the new person in a community and doing your own self-talk. Like, I'm going to have to get out of the house. I'm going
Yeah.
to have to go introduce myself to people. That is very uncomfortable to most people.
Yes.
They don't. Clearly, when you said, you love to be in front of the camera, probably no one ever says that.
Right. Not a lot of, either you love it or you hate it.
So, yeah, which I love.
Yeah.
You have a very infectious smile. So
Thank you.
you should be in front of the camera and you should be the messenger telling us the news. But I know that when you came here, you're very active in junior league. So learning how the community works and learning who influencers might be or what organizations do. Clearly you sought out the junior league. So tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about, your role there and your passion for that.
So I started with junior league in Columbia, South Carolina. I actually wanted to join in Mobile, Alabama, but I wasn't old enough. You had to be 25 at the time. I was 22,
Oh, I didn't
straight out
know
of
that.
college.
I didn't
yeah,
know
it's
that.
different with every state.
Yeah.
So joined in Columbia, South Carolina when I worked there as a morning anchor, and they had like 500 plus women. I mean, it
Wow.
was huge.
Oh, my
Still
word.
is. And so I was a very tiny fish in a huge pond.
Yeah.
Here, our league is much smaller, and COVID changed that a little bit as well because we can have in-person events. And I joined as a transfer, and then I became the membership director kind of right away.
Shocker.
Because I know what it's like to be
Yeah.
new, and I
Yeah.
want people
Good.
to feel welcome. Because if
good.
you say, hi, nice to meet you, and then you don't hear from somebody in a month, it's like, did I
Yeah.
even meet anybody?
I know.
So I wanted to get involved in that. It's an all-women organization focused on women and children. We do a lot of different volunteer opportunities. So, and one of my passions, I'll be very honest, is not going out and volunteering. I'm more behind the scenes in that way. I think because I have to be on so much on TV
So
every
is it more
day.
strategic, like, or planning
more
events, or
strategic.
where should you serve?
Yeah. And
Good.
then just being, I just thought it was a great way to meet other women with
Oh,
good
yeah.
hearts and with different careers too.
Right,
It's neat to
right.
meet women from different backgrounds and different careers who are giving back
Good.
or have different passions. So,
Good.
yep, I got involved in that. And then I lecture at church. I go to St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Mechanicsburg,
Good.
which ironically my husband was baptized and confirmed at. Didn't know that when I went there. I was like, I found this church I like.
Oh my
So that's
goodness.
been a good community just to get to know people there. And I love lecturing. So yeah, I think those are the main two things. Oh, and then the diaper bank. I got involved in that because I learned
tell us about that.
Oh my gosh. I did an interview with them last December of 2020. 21? Yeah, I'm like, what year are we in? 2021. And I did not know that babies who don't have diapers suffer medical needs. And so like parents will take diapers and like lay them in the windowsill to dry out and then reuse them if they can't afford
seriously?
them. Yeah, and you can't buy diapers with WIC. You can't buy them with any
Yes.
federal money.
Okay.
So the diaper bank itself will
Very
get
expensive.
grants, and they're
Diapers are
very
very
expensive.
expensive.
Yeah, so we have all these resources for food and for clothing, but a lot of families don't have diapers for their children, and you can't take a child to daycare without a diaper because they require
Right.
diapers to change. So that affects the parents' work. So I didn't know it was a need, and I didn't know it was
Yeah.
such a big need.
Yeah.
So the diaper bank works with a lot of local organizations and gives diapers to the organizations where the women and men and parents are already going for help. So it's like something they can get if they're already receiving help for food or shelter
Right.
or clothing. The diaper bank partners with
So is
them.
that a national thing, or is that a
It is
statewide?
national.
Is it?
Yes, and
I
then
need
we
to
have a little
give some
statewide
diapers
here.
to Candace. I need to
Yeah,
do that.
I had no idea it existed.
I didn't know.
That's just, I'm going to do that.
Now I know that and Annie's going to smile because I'm going to bring up Salvation Army because I'm board chair there. I know that in our choice food pantry we have Depends for seniors. And we do have diapers. I don't know how many, so I'm going to check into that to see
interesting.
if we're one of the repositories
partners.
from the diaper bank.
Yeah,
to
you
see,
might be.
to see what we.
I'm going to be a repository into
There we
Well,
go.
there. That's
Yeah.
Well, and you see, like, to me, I love that chain of how so many people are impacted
Yeah.
in a positive way.
Yeah.
You would have
Right,
no
so
idea.
the Humane Society to me for a dog is like a
Right.
lifelong
Right.
crazy dog lady. And so I think I just love the entire chain of that.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult to be a parent with a baby in diapers.
Yeah.
It just is. It's just a tough
But we
time.
don't think that's a new angle. That's caused me to think about not being able to send a child to daycare if you don't have enough diapers, if you don't have any diapers. We think of transportation issues for young moms, and we think of daycare, even the service of daycare. But I don't think that's a very, very basic.
Yeah, I was shocked by it, and the part
Yeah.
that got me was just that these moms and dads are like they're keeping their babies in the diapers longer than they should,
Yeah, right,
which then leads
right.
to a lot of
That's
medical
the-
issues.
Do you know, I'm putting you on the spot.
No, that's fine.
What's the website for that our listeners could?
Healthy Steps Diaper Bank.
.com?
Yes.
Healthy Steps Diaper Bank.
Healthy Steps.
Look at that.
I don't bring my phone
go.
in here. I would be.
Yeah.
We've got to do a little deep dive on
Yeah.
that. So thanks for that.
Actually, Amanda Barnes would be
info.
great to have on your show. I'm like putting her
Good.
out there right
Yeah,
now. She
good.
would love to talk
Good.
because she's become very passionate about it. I think she's the CEO now, but I didn't intend to get this involved. It just kind of happened.
Well, that's obviously
Well,
when you describe. So did you do a story on
That's the Lord,
Yeah, I did a
though.
story
Yeah.
on it.
That's
and I
the
was like,
Lord bringing that
Yeah.
Yeah.
for that impact. And we're at a minute.
Is that it? Oh my gosh, that's went by so fast. Okay, well, I have two little
business
vitamins,
vitamins,
real quick.
good.
Okay, great.
Candace, go.
My third one for the graduating seniors / everybody, and I'm still trying to do this myself, is to ask for what you want.
Good.
Prime example, we've never had the farm show live at noon for CBS 21, and we're doing it this year because I said,
love that.
I want to do this.
Love.
I think it would be great. Can we please do this? And I asked like 5 different people, and they said yes.
Good.
So ask for what you want. And then my last one is a book recommendation by Dana Perino. Oh, I can't even remember what it's called right now, but I listened to her audiobook and I want to write down and highlight everything because she's so good about educating younger women and even
She's a great communicator.
in my 30s, like,
What's her dog? Well, she lost her dog.
yeah.
Did she? Wait.
I don't remember what her new one's called.
Because I thought he was on the cover, the book cover with her.
Yes. Yeah.
See, you had me at the dog. Now I'm going to read it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
wasn't she in politics? Help me.
Yes. So
right?
she was
Candace?
the
White House press secretary.
Yes, for
Yeah.
George
Oh,
Bush.
yeah.
Because she
Yep.
wanted to do like reporting, and then she
George
was like, "This
W.
is not
I think
for
way
me.
back, and then she left
Yep.
for family or whatever. I don't think she did the whole.
Yeah,
term,
she trained. I think she did PR for a while.
Yeah,
Actually.
I mean, communicating
PR.
at that level,
oh yeah,
That's hard.
positive relationships.
That's
PR.
right. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, communicating at that level, you have enough challenge, and we need another 30 minutes. Come on. We didn't even get to doing the news in a social media world. Like, you aren't taking anything back. From your news desk, you're not editing out. Like, it's live news.
Right.
Most people, 99.9% of people are not prepared for that.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely things that I'm like, just said that. Or like, I slurred that word. Or I went to speech therapy for my R's and my W's. So I know when World War II comes up, I have to focus
Oh,
hard.
there you go.
Yeah. So.
And what you did to enunciate that is you slowed down. Mm-hmm. You put the emphasis on the challenge.
Yep.
And just beautifully.
Thank
And
you.
when we lecture,
Yep.
that's what happens.
Yeah.
If you're lecturing well, you know the story.
Yes.
And I've been reading those same stories since 3rd grade. I know the stories. And that's what we're interpreting. But to do that, we have to emphasize what we
Right.
want them to understand, which is a newscast. We're just doing it for the Lord. Ann.
Always do your homework. I always read all of my scripts.
I
I
love
never
to
know if there's
lecture.
a-
I
That's-
absolutely love it.
That's good for all of us in business to be prepared for whether pretend it is live news.
Yeah.
Every meeting we have, pretend that it's that meaningful and that important.
And I have to give you a shout out because when you came to CBS 21 for our first segment, I don't think we had met in person yet. And you were like, "Hey, Candace," and I was like, "Am I supposed to know who that is?" Who is that?
Gallaher.
She's really early.
No,
But I loved it. And then I was like, I need to be more
that was
like
with
her.
Luke.
Yes.
I think he was the first one.
Yes, yes.
And it was with Andrea, but yeah, coming into the studio, very
like
few.
3 a.m.
I love doing that because we get time with you guys and you get
Yeah.
a chance to feel for, what the story really is and a little more in depth than a 2.5 minute,
Yes.
ordinary news segment. But you can clearly tell you love your job. And I hope you can tell we love our job.
Yes.
And I think that's a benefit. That's a give back to younger people or even mid-careers to understand you can make changes for the aspirational young people. All they need to do is look at you and say, wow, I didn't consider a career in media, but I certainly think I will now.
Yeah.
I see some great benefit. Anybody in business, we've just got, did we get 5 business vitamins?
We
The
got
discipline,
Maltese.
the intention, making the ask. I love your curiosity. Everyone, I love people that I work with. I want their sense of curiosity. I want to know what I don't know.
Shadow people.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So and that really goes for any career industry, not just the media or journalism, but
Yeah.
I would say absolutely make the ask and go up as high as you can to the CEO and say, can I, have meet you for 15 minutes of your time?
No is just a 2-letter word, ladies. It's
Yep.
it's not
You can find the
defining, and
courage.
It's not catastrophic. It's just no. Take all the power out of it. And
Yeah.
bada boom, bada
Is
bing.
this it?
That's
All right,
it.
Candace, thanks for joining us
Thank you,
today.
guys. This was so
for
fun.
learning more about your story, and we're going to watch all your newscasts, which I already do. Where can we find you online?
Okay, my
Socials.
Instagram is Candace.Scalese. Everything else is Candace Scalese.
Okay. Scalese.
Correct.
Okay. There we
I
go.
subscribe to that simplicity.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah.
It's just Ann with an E, Carnathan. That's it. Just me.
Keep it simple.
Thanks.
That's actually a thing in the news. Keep it simple.
is. Yeah.
Simple, not easy.
Well, that's
to
good.
keep it simple.
So we are Savvy Spirited Stories of Success. So thanks for adding your story to our story. And we look forward to chatting again.
Thank you. I
Thank
loved
you.
it.
Thanks for listening. It's our desire that these stories will bring energy, ideas, and fresh thinking that you can use today. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram. And have a high gear day.